Hello to 107 Drones. Hello to Susan Lee. Artco Drone Solutions in the house. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And of course, hello to Lone Star UAV right here in the flesh. What's up, Kai?
Howdy doody.
Good to see you. Kai drove all the way from San Antonio, which should be about 90 minutes, maybe even a little less.
I've made it in an hour before.
Made it in an hour, but today it was 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
I was ready to kill.
If you're thinking about moving, don't move to San Antonio or Austin or anywhere in between, because you're going to be stuck in traffic all the time. And funny enough, he lives there. I was there for work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week, and Chris, our engineer over there, Chris, Sunrise Water Media, was there as well this whole week. So, San Antonio had a good vibe.
I'm still trying to figure out who's stalking who here.
Well,
this is kind of weird.
It's sort of a multi-level stalk. It's like not stalking. And if you're quiet, I don't know if you can hear it, but it just started raining really hard.
It is pouring.
You can hear it.
Grab yourself bar soap and get out there. Get yourself washed up.
Yep. That's about time. I do need it. I do need it. Hey, man, when you're working as hard as me, you're sweating like a dog sometimes. So,
what's your language?
We got a good show tonight. Oh, we got Doc Murdoch in the house too, and Sergio. What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Big Water UAV Solutions, Jonathan Jackson. Man, we got a good crew. Thank you guys for joining. We are going to talk about a few things, including some of these little things sitting here on the table. Of course, the Avada, that's still a hot topic. We've got your new Sony camera that you just brought in. We got an Insta360. And by the way, we have some Lone Star UAV stickers here that we can send you if you answer some questions a little later. And also, Subscriber of the Month is going to get a batch of those because Kai just brought me a bunch. So, Kai, tell me what's been up with you. You got a new toy, I see.
I've been playing with Walksnail.
You've been playing with Walksnail. You actually took two of these things, pulled out your old Vista units.
Pulled out the trusty old Vista units and replaced them with Walksnail VTXs.
So for people that don't know, what is the Walksnail?
Well, it's a walking snail. Chris, if you want to show the picture.
Oh.
We actually found a picture of the elusive Walksnail.
Yeah, I did.
We forgot to put it on. Yeah. We'll go get it. We'll go get it. Chris will find it. So, but it is also a digital VTX. So it's a digital transmission system. So if you're currently flying any FPV stuff that is using either analog or DJI, this is an alternative to that. And it's damn good. Yeah.
It's 1080p in the goggle, OLED goggles. They are coming out with a receiver module for analog goggles.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They actually have a special running there right now. It's $199 gets you the mini VTX, the 1S VTX, and the receiver module.
Wow. So really, this is the competition that DJI needs in the digital FPV space, because really there hasn't been the frostbite, shark bite thing didn't really go anywhere, and this is as good when you look at it. As a matter of fact, what is a Walksnail? I see one on the screen there.
Yeah, it finally.
Not ready yet.
We're not ready yet.
We're not ready yet.
So what Kai did, he took both of these FPV quads, gutted them, or just took the top off and put those transmission systems in. And what did you do with your old Vista units?
Actually, I sold it.
Oh, all right. So you're committed to Walksnail.
Well, I'm committable, but no, I don't see the longevity with DJI. Walksnail, CADX has been really good about listening to the community. There is actually a Facebook group, Walksnail Official, where you can put in, whatever quirks you're dealing with, and they're pretty responsive about reacting to those posts.
And they have the coolest mascot ever, right? These things, a walking snail. You don't see that very often, right?
Well, I see it every day, but
Yeah. So Kai has a collection of walking snails in an aquarium.
yep.
And no kidding, they have legs. He showed me pictures. So in addition to your walk snail, you also got the Sony ZV-1F.
F.
You can hold that sucker up. So this is Kai's new little, not only creator camera, but it's also the one he's using for his webcam for live streaming. So why did you get this guy?
For one, I got tired of dealing with webcams for the live streams, the focus issues. And for another, I wanted something that I actually can shoot some footage with too. So this kind of does both at a beginner price tag. I mean, this is actually less than a
GoPro
Hero
11. Yeah. Yeah, so I had the ZV-1. This is the newer version, and the problem I had with it, it was amazing with its focus. You just put it on whatever, and it seemed to know exactly what to focus on. And the picture quality was great. 4K. Does that do 4K 60?
4K 30.
4K 30. Okay. But the problem I had with the original version was it overheated, and the battery life was not great. You had to have several batteries. But Kai is saying you can do, as a webcam, you plug in the USB port,
Yep.
and it'll just go, right?
It has a USB port right here on the side. It's USB-C right on the side. Plug it into your computer. It actually keeps charging while you're using it, so you're not running out of battery.
So if somebody was starting to get into making content for YouTube, this might be a really good option. And again, I really liked the original ZV-1, but they've improved on a lot of things. I think when I first started, I was using a Panasonic, and the whole reason I got that Panasonic originally was it was one of the only cameras that actually had a microphone jack on the side. At the time, these little point and shoots didn't have microphone jacks, but this does.
This one actually has a microphone built in and a microphone jack on the side.
So you can do either.
You can do either.
Yeah. No, and I actually remember the mic that's built in is pretty good quality. It does a decent job.
Yeah.
So my little toy here that I've been playing with, and actually this weekend I'm hoping, if I have the opportunity, or next week, to put this guy onto a FPV drone and fly with it. It's the Insta360 X3, and this is the upgraded version from the X2. I took this camping, and I took it on my trip down to San Antonio, shot with it a little bit, but not a whole lot. But the coolest thing I did with this, if we have the video ready, is I was able to go on a recent video shoot with a client, and was able to use this thing as a camera to shoot the mount that's on the front of this helicopter. So in this shot, the pilot gave me permission to put this thing out the window, and if you don't know much about 360 cameras, basically the stick disappears. So I've got it on a selfie stick kind of thing, and I'm holding it out the window. And this shot's pretty good, but the next shot is a lot better. Basically, the pilot told me I could use it until we started flying fast, and then, or as long as we were going slow. So on the takeoff and the landing. So that was the takeoff. We're coming in for landing here, and this right here, that is just so friggin' cool that you can hold it out like that. And it wasn't even a very long selfie stick. This was like a 6 foot selfie stick. It wasn't one of those extra long ones, but it was able to get the entire thing in the shot. And I showed that to a couple of people, including my wife. She thought I was flying a drone next to it. She's like, "Were you flying a drone next to the helicopter?" No. That would have been pretty dangerous. And I don't even know if a drone could stay right there with the prop wash. Do you think?
Nah, probably not.
Probably get pushed right into the ground.
I'm still reeling over this. The camera made my stick go away.
Yeah.
And that's what she said.
Yeah. Anyway, I intend to finish a video about the Insta360 X3. I like it a lot so far. It does have a few shortcomings in low light. It's a 1/2-inch sensor, which is not bad for a 360 camera, but when you're doing, I think it's 5.7K that this does. When you're doing 360, you're only using a part of the sensor when you export it. So I think even a 5.7K sensor is getting upscaled a little bit at 4K when you export it. But you'll get to see the results yourself. I did take this a few places and have shot some stuff with it. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm back into 360 cameras because they just are so damn cool when you put them on something like a drone, and that's what I'm going to do next.
That's why we have a big camera on that Avata, so you have to put another camera.
Right. I know everybody's putting GoPros on the Avata. As a matter of fact, Kai mentioned the Flywoo Naked GoPro 11. So if you have a Hero 11, which just came out, I think the Mini is about to come out. They just announced that they're going to make a naked version of it, and what is it? $600?
$600, $599.
Which I guess, do you think they are buying these off the shelf and doing this, or do you think they're buying them in bulk, or how? I mean, because a Hero 11 is, they're not making a lot of profit on that, even at that price, right?
I have no idea what the arrangement is. I just think, okay, it's a GoPro 11, but $600 is just too much.
Yeah. What's
for something that you're gonna strap on top of a drone that you're gonna crash?
Right. What's your? I know they don't have Flywoo Refresh or anything like that, right?
No.
Real quick, Chris, can you go to that other tab on this?
You want to get some relation? This thing here, the Sony, $100 cheaper than that.
So speaking of Flywoo, this is a little LED Cinewoop racing quad indoor. I think it's a 2S. Can you see it, Chris? Is it a 2S or a 3S? Does it say?
That's a 4S, I think.
Is it a 4S? Anyway, it looks awesome for indoor because you can get it in multiple LEDs.
4S.
And okay, it is a 4S. So it must be a 4S with an XT30. But you can fly that thing indoors in the dark, and I've seen videos of this. This is something I really want to get, but it's not something that I need. You know, it's on the nice to have list.
I know how to fly things inside in the dark.
Yeah. Well, you flew your Walksnail last time.
Yeah.
Live on the show. And of course, going back to the most popular topic of October probably is the Avada. This thing is still creating a lot of buzz. Love it or hate it. I did kind of break the front mounts here, and Kai fixed that for me, which was very, very good. Haven't broken anything since, but I have had an opportunity.
Have you flown it since?
Yeah. This is, you fixed it before. This is the one I flew through the bar.
Okay.
So I had an opportunity to do a fly through, but before we talk about that, Chris, can you play play one of the other videos? I just wanted to show you guys, if you're familiar with this channel and if you're familiar with Chris, Sunrise Water Media, then you know the Red Devils. Boom, the Avada can go through the Red Devils. Made it through.
Well, yeah. I mean, this thing will make it through the Red Devils.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying nothing can't, but I mean, you couldn't go through the Red Devils with the Mavic 3, not very easily, with your sensors turned on.
If you go fast enough, you'll make it through.
Yeah, I guess you turn the sensors off. And
you just activate that collapsible arm feature.
The exploding prop feature. It's very true. So this was just a little flying around Canyon Vista with the Avada. This has been a few weeks back since this was all going down. I know a lot of people have experienced this. See the 180 here? It was kind of slow, but a lot of people have experienced some drop and prop wash when they do this sort of sideways move like that.
The yaw move. That's where that thing likes to go tumble.
But we had good luck with it. We kept it. That was an intentional tumble right there. That wasn't a.
Well, they usually do the snappy yaw movement is what gets it.
Yeah. Hold on. I think there's one coming up here, up by this light. I wanted to show you. It's pretty snappy yaw move. That.
Yeah.
Did you see it kind of drop there a little bit in the nose?
Yeah, it caught it, and you barely caught it.
So a lot of people have been flying this, and I just received from some company I've never heard of, which is never a good sign, some aftermarket props for it. And so I'm going to try those never heard of it before aftermarket props and see how they do.
For the Avada?
Yeah.
I know HQ makes props for the Avada now.
Oh, maybe it is HQ. Maybe it is HQ. Actually, the box is in the other room. I could go grab it. Hold on. You keep them occupied for a second.
I'm going to keep them occupied.
All right.
What's your footage? Oh, whoa. It's getting rumbly out there. But yeah, no, the other thing that people like to do is stick new motors in this thing, and I don't think that's a great idea either. Yep, he's got the package. Watch out.
It just came in yesterday. So, is it HQ?
Don't get rowdy.
Drone Tech? Oh no, those are for the original FPV.
Yeah, no, that's... Who's Drone Tech?
Like I said, never heard of them.
Drone-T.com.
Yeah. So, yeah, these are the Avata.
Well, they're certainly colorful enough.
The Avata props, the aftermarket Avata props. I don't even think Master Airscrew makes these yet, do they?
Nope. I haven't seen anything come up on Master Airscrew, but they're going... Master Airscrew is going to hit the sales here again because, let's see, we got Veterans Day coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they look very similar to the originals. So we'll see. We'll see if these are any good. I a lot of people always warn you don't put, especially from non-reputable companies or companies that you've never heard of before. But my idea will be to just fly it at Canyon Vista in a controlled area where if the prop comes off, it's just going to fall in the cracks.
Well,
so
the thing about the Avada, it's a 2.9 inch prop. It's not a 3 inch. It's not a true 3 inch. 2.9 inch.
Is that what these are? Does it say? I guess
it
it's
doesn't say anything
probably in
on
millimeters, huh?
Yeah, no, it is 2925.
2925. Oh.
So 2.9.
2.9. Yeah, because it couldn't.
2.5 inch pitch.
It could not be any bigger because if it was, it would hit the guards. I mean, those props have very little tolerance. As a matter of fact, my one thing I've done. One of the dumb things I've done with the Avada is not pushed the little cover that covers up the SD card thing in all the way. Yeah, and it goes bip, 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 bip. It'll fly, but it's like clicking the whole time. And these props are kind of brittle.
That sounds like an old V8.
Yeah, it really does. So we flew it at Canyon Vista, and Chris, can you roll the barn here? So this is a secret spot that if you get to know Kai, he might invite you here, but he told me if I ever show this spot to anyone, I would be uninvited. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let him invite people. But this is a cool spot in Austin.
What I said.
What did you say?
I said severe bodily harm.
Right. I didn't want to get that on camera. People already think you're a bully. So this was a little chasing. This is Chris chasing me. I think I was flying the Avada, and Chris was flying the Gep RC. Cinelog 35 Performance with a GoPro on it. Session 5. Yeah. So pretty cool footage of this. Chris got some good stuff as we were going through the gates and stuff. But I mean, just showing again, the Avada is fun to fly as a. What was that all about, Chris? Had a little moment there.
Somebody plugged in.
Oh, maybe you lost signal for a second. But this is pretty cool. Kai used to work in this building, and this barn, what is it? It's an old house, an old farmhouse?
I think that's an old historic farmhouse right there on your right there on the screen.
The original well?
And I think that's more cosmetic than anything. But yeah, then they added. I'm thinking the farmhouse was original. It's historically protected, and when they developed that property, they had to keep it and upkeep it because they've done quite a bit of work to that barn.
Yeah. The barn's in decent. Actually, they fixed the roof, right? Had a big
fixed
hole in the roof
yeah.
that you used to be able to dive through.
Yeah.
But now you can't dive through it because it doesn't have a hole anymore. But there are porches that are fun to fly through. There's this fence that's fun to fly through, And I think coming up here in a
Well,
second.
I actually flew your Avata inside of the barn, and then the battery went dead, and they want to go on a return home.
Oh,
meaning
yeah.
wanting to go straight through the roof.
That's right. That's right. That's one of those.
That was one of those oh shit moments.
Well, and that's a DJI return to home kind of thing. But what are the odds of all this space that you happen to be inside the barn right at that moment when the battery decided to do that? Some nice flying by Chris though here chasing us.
Yeah, well, just let that sink in. So Chris is chasing you. You go out of town together.
Yeah. Hey man, we're the dream team. Teamwork makes the dream work, right, Chris?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing would happen without Chris Waters. If you want quality work, he's your guy. That's what I say. So all of this said, we've had these opportunities to fly the Avata for a couple of weeks now. Been having fun with it. And then my buddy who owns a bar in East Austin called the Haymaker told me I could do a fly-through of his bar. So it was the day after First Friday last month. Both Chris and Kai came along and helped me with security. They were my bodyguards as, you know, people were coming up and trying to hassle me about flying a drone in their bar or whatever.
No. We were there to protect them from you.
Oh, that's how it works. Well, ultimately,
Somebody's got to hold that leash.
we had the opportunity to do a little test flight. So let's take a look at that test flight. You can start it there, Chris. Yeah. So this is going out of the bar, and this was just early one morning before they opened. Keith let me come over and just do a little bit of testing, and I had to figure out what the line was going to look like too. So just kind of backed up here on the parking lot. I will say, in praise of the Avata, because I could have done this with anything, but the Avata made it so simple because I didn't have any dropout or interference. Perfect signal from inside the bar, flying outside like this, coming through the sign. You know, you may have already seen this video or maybe not, but this was just the practice run. But, you know, just that reliability of that transmission was fantastic. It's OcuSync, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to say, so Walksnail's coming out with, you know, like you said, they're really pushing to be the new digital FPV of choice. If DJI releases an air unit that is OcuSync 3, what are you going to think about that?
I've heard about the air, and I'm hearing some differentiating opinions on the new air unit.
So it's supposed to be out before the end of the year, or do you?
It's supposed to have been out already.
Okay.
And it's been put on hold. There's issues with the unit overheating, and so I don't know. I don't have any first-hand knowledge of any of that, so we'll see.
But again, just knowing what OcuSync can do through walls, through a busy radio area. This is downtown Austin where this thing is, right? So
Yeah. Well, the bar itself has got Wi-Fi and
Yep. No issues whatsoever with drop signal, which is, you know, there's something to be said for that.
yeah.
So let's take a look at the actual final video, and we'll roll that one with audio. All right. So cheers to the Haymaker for letting us do that. It was fun. It was fun. It was a good experience. So the crowd that was there was soccer. So it was Chelsea, I think. They were there for the morning match, which, it's all happening in Europe. So it's 6 hours, 8 hours ahead. So they're there early in the morning. And then that was also the day of the Texas OU game. So all these people were showing up for football, UT football. And, Texas OU is a pretty big deal. So it got pretty crowded toward the end, wouldn't you say?
We actually had to hurry it up, too, because there was a TFR coming.
That's right. There was a TFR because of some VIP coming downtown Austin, I think. And so that started at 1 o'clock. So we had to be done, we were done by noon, I think.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any problems. But yeah, it was quite the experience. I will say, if you do go to do anything like that, I know some other folks have done fly-throughs much better than me. But if you're new to it, it is so helpful to have other people there to be your kind of eyes and ears, because you're really immersed in the goggles and you don't know what's going on. Line of sight on the drone when it's outside, of course, but then also just inside. There was actually a time when I went towards that bear sign at the end, and then there was a woman that walked by, and it kind of messed me up, and I was trying to land there, and there were people stepping on it, and Kai had to go grab it off the ground, which was fortunate he was there to do that.
Well, it's a crowd. You can never control all the variables. So.
And the good thing was everybody had heads up, right? Keith told them this is going to happen, and a lot of the people from that came into the bar were friends. Like, there were people there that just showed up because they knew this was happening. As a matter of fact, a lot of those guys I went camping with last weekend and had finally seen the video, and they were all like, that was so cool. So, good stuff. Lots of fun. What about, I need to update everybody real quick about the Big Mac Challenge. I have not got those t-shirts made. I owe t-shirts still to Jason, Gordon, and Dustin. Now, Gordon has not reached out to me yet, so if anybody knows Gordon, who did you say, Chris Miller was friends with Gordon?
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him in the chat, have we?
No.
If anybody knows Gordon Scott, please ask him to send me a email, contest@ReadySetDrone, so that I can get his address and t-shirt size so I can get those shirts made and send them off. I will get that done before the next first Friday in December, just because I need to get that done before the end of the year. And also, Kai has awesome shirts, stickers, and hats. If you aren't already a subscriber of Lone Star UAV, go over there now, subscribe, and if you want a cool shirt like that, you can get one of those too. I wore mine last time.
We got shirts, hats, stickers. Matter of fact, if you buy any kind of shirts and you send me a picture of you wearing it, I will mail you the stickers.
Nice. Yeah, and the stickers are good. They're high quality. By the way, speaking of, just thanks to everyone who has sent me their stickers over the years. Can you flip over to the single shot there? Yeah, there we go. This is my collection right now. Got Brant aerials on there. Got Lone Star UAV, of course. We've got Droner. We've got Emax. We've got Chris Hope in the house. We've got Tony on there. The Mosquito. What is his channel called? I'm blanking now. Tropic UAV. Thank you. Yeah, it's always cool when I get stickers from other channels. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. But yes, if you order anything from Kai's channel, hat, sticker, whatever, he'll mail you some of these Lone Star UAV stickers. By the way, who designed the logo there?
That was Chris.
That was Chris. So once again,
another one of Chris's handiworks.
Sunrise Water Media. It's kind of cool because you do like to fly your VTOLs. You do like to fly your quads. And what happened to your airplane, your FPV plane?
Which one?
The one that you crashed.
Which one of the ones that I crashed?
The one you crashed when I was there. It was like in July or something, into the roof of the
The concession stand?
Concession stand, yeah.
Yeah, it was rude how the concession stand jumped out in front of me.
It wasn't a giant water tower.
Intolerable, but
Yeah.
well.
Kai was doing some passes over
It's in the pile of things to be repaired. You know.
You think between the two
I
of them?
call it my Kelly pile.
He's got the one I crashed with the parts from that, and then he's got the one that he crashed, and maybe between the two he can fix it. You think so? No, not repairable.
Oh, it's repairable. I just need to order parts, and they're not exactly cheap.
Yeah. No, that whole unit is quite expensive, but it is a pretty cool VTOL. If you haven't seen the video, Kai's in it. You could check it out. So. What else is going on here? Who else do we have in the chat? We got Ten Toes. Good to see you, Tom. We got Yellow Rose Drones. Good to see you, Lee. Like I said, Susan Lee earlier. Eddie Nunez. Good to see you. Oh, one thing we were going to talk about, because the holiday season is coming up. Shopping.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. I'll talk to Kai about this. And while Doc Murdoch says buildings are dicks too, just like trees. I assume he means sporting goods. So while we're talking about it, there was somebody. Tell the story about the last meetup. There was a guy that came out with his grandson.
We had our meetup in October, and some older gentleman showed up with his daughter and grandson in tow. And they were all curious about drones, and Grandpa wanted to find something for his grandson to enjoy other than computers. And he was making a connection on the controller because, he likes to play the PlayStation, so he's already down with the thumbs. So he thought, no, the drones would be something for him to get into. And so he comes up and asks, what would be something to start with. And of course, now we have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, lots of opinions.
Lots of opinions. And opinions like buttholes.
Everybody's got one.
And they all stink.
Yeah, okay. So we would like your opinion in the chat of what the first drone you should buy for a kid should be. Kai, what do you think?
10-year-old boy.
Yeah, 10-year-old kid, never flown before. What is your thought on that? What would you, if this were your nephew or grandson or whatever, what would you get him?
Let's go by budget, okay? I got a few selections. Lowest budget, obviously something small. Holy Stone, Cymax, 5X, whatever. One of those under $50 jobs.
Yeah. And now those don't have GPS, right?
Nope.
Line of sight only. You
actually have to fly them. And, the Cymax actually does have a camera on it.
Yeah, you can get it with or without, and then you can take it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that is my favorite beginner drone for outdoors, the SEMA X5C, because it really, you can really rip with that thing. Usually they have I've had two different versions. One has 3 rates and one has 2 rates. They're all stabilized, but in rate 3 on some of them, they'll tip over like that far.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll really go. And of course they have the button to flip them. That's the only way you can flip them, because you aren't allowed to pitch them over. But I remember learning how to do figure 8s, learning how to basically get oriented with it. So when it's flying towards you, left is right and right is left. There's, unless you're using headless mode, which is cheater. Yeah, the SEMA X5C. But if you're going to go indoors, like you were saying, Holy Stone and Potenzic, they make a nice little
I have a Holy Stone HS170 Predator, I think is what that thing is called.
How big is it?
It's no bigger than this thing.
Yeah, and it's line of sight.
Biplate props, brushed motors. Nothing to get too excited about, but they get some LEDs on there, makes it look cool. The Ford kit, definitely some, to get their attention.
So that's under $100.
Yeah.
SEMA,
Well,
Holy
it's
Stone.
under $50. 'cause
Under $50.
My next step would be under $100 would be the Rise Tello.
Tello, yeah, $99. I think you can still get it on DJI's site.
It's
Can you?
still Best Buy still has it.
Yeah. And what do you like about
Amazon?
the Tello?
The stability of it.
Okay.
It's got a nice screen to it. It has a decent video transmission.
Yep.
I mean, it's 720, but I mean,
and it has optical stabilization, optical flow.
Yeah.
So I actually, it's funny because one of my most popular videos is my Tello review from years ago. It's still getting views because I think the Tello is still a viable drone that people look at. And I have it in some serious wind, and it's kind of pitched over on its side, and it's just holding in place. But there's no GPS in that thing. It's doing that strictly with a camera or a LiDAR or something on the bottom of it that's saying, okay, that's my spot. I'm going to stay there. And it does a great job of it. So
yeah, no, the Rise Tello is still a contender in this.
And, a lot of people thought it was a DJI product, but it wasn't. It was made by Rise. DJI marketed it, and they had it on their website. I'm not exactly sure what the relationship there was, but can you...
I'm thinking that might have helped some was the flight control software.
Yeah. Oh, let's go back. Hey, bring that up, Chris. This is going back. Was that the Tello review?
Just trying to find a good spot.
Oh no, just bring it up. That's memory lane right there. Look at my son. He was tiny. Yeah. So here it is. In some wind. Oh, I think this is when we were doing like flips and it has a whole bunch of little gestures. Now, the other thing with the Rise Tello is you can fly it with your phone, and you can also get a Bluetooth remote for it, I think.
Yep.
It works with either. But yeah, you can tell that's when my boy was shorter than me. Now he's as tall as Kai, almost. Well, 4 inches short, but
Yeah.
he's getting there.
Now and then the next more for the adult starter, I'd go Mini SE.
Yeah, the Mini SE is $400, $399,
$300.
$299.
$299.
Okay, yeah, it's a solid drone. I mean, I think it's basically the Mini 1. I feel like the Mini SE is the original Mini. It's enhanced Wi-Fi. It's not OcuSync, and it doesn't have quite as long a flight time, and the camera's not quite as good, but it is still a very, very solid drone. I mean, love them or hate them, DJI makes a good camera drone. They make a really good, solid camera drone, and for a budget of $300, this thing, you can do a lot with it, and it's under 250 grams.
Yeah.
So no, it might actually be lighter than the SEMA, the X5C. I don't know. I'd be curious if I
don't think the SEMA is over 250.
No, probably not. But this is a legit camera drone. The Mini, and then if you have a little bit more budget, you could look at getting a Mini 2, because I think those are still for sale. You can certainly buy them used, and then you could look at buying either a Air 2 or what was the other one? The Mavic, the original Mavic Pro. It's a great quad. There's tons of them out there.
Well, but they're hard to get batteries for these days.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But everything's going to be like that, right? I mean, unless you buy something like this where there are, tons of different types of batteries. So now, if someone wanted to get into like FPV, what would you say would be their first FPV?
Well, actually, I started my FPV out on the Tello.
Really? You were doing?
I got the VR goggles, stuck the phone in there, and there's an app that you can get to have the FPV view.
So and just literally like Google Cardboard would work, like anything that holds the phone.
Yeah. Well, no, the app actually puts 2 separate screens on the phone.
Right, but then the goggles don't matter. They're just, they're just
the VR goggles.
The
they're like $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could use those Norwegian guys, the drone mask.
Drone mask, whatever. But But for a few bucks, you can buy the controller, buy the VR goggles, and then stick your phone, and you're starting. You get an FPV part of it.
Well, I think the part that is most important before you do FPV is to fly something without GPS. Just learn to fly something line of sight. Get used to hovering in one place. As a matter of fact, one of my most popular videos is five skills every beginner drone pilot should know. I think it's got 1 million views at this point. It's 6 years old, 5 years old, and I'm only saying that because I do believe in those skills first. The first one was hover, just hovering. The next was to make a cross, like forward, back, left, right, while you're keeping the nose away from you. Next was to do a circle, then a figure 8. And then once you can do all those things, you're starting to get the feel for how the thing flies, And by the way, I just want to say hello to Flying Flynn Media. Thanks for joining the flight crew. I do like your logo, Flying Flynn. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. So, okay, let's say money's no object and you want your first drone and probably a camera drone to start, just something that you could fly. What would you buy if you could buy anything for your first drone? Let's say Grandpa's rich.
Grandpa's rich?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Grandpa, get me a...
Yeah, then, if money's no object, you're in Mavic 3 territory, right?
Yeah, yes. And, they just announced the Mavic 3 Classic. It is a lower cost version of the Mavic 3. I don't know that much about it. Never seen one, never flown one. But from what I understand, they cut some corners in some areas, but still.
They took the tele-lens out.
Okay.
As probably the biggest.
Do you think that was one of the big cost factors? What is? I see it up on the screen, but I can't see the price. Can you see it, Chris?
It's $15.99.
$15.99. Yeah.
$15.99 was the regular controller, and $17.99.
$17.49 with the
$17.49.
$17.49. Yeah. With
Yeah.
the DJI RC.
Okay, so it can use the DJI RC as well. I always thought the DJI RC only worked with the Mini 3 Pro.
No, it's working now with the Air 2S. It works with the Mavic 3.
The Mavic 3 Classic?
Both RC, the RC and the RC Pro now work with the Mini 3, the Air 2S, and the Mavic 3.
Oh. I knew the RC Pro did. I didn't realize the Mini. So basically that controller, if you don't know, gives you a screen, but it's not as bright as the Mavic or the RC Pro. That's a brighter screen and a few more bells and whistles in that, right? But otherwise, it's pretty much the same controller.
Biggest difference is the screen brightness, and the Pro has 4 antennas versus the 2 antennas on the RC.
Okay. Well, so
and then there's difference in processors. So screen recordings was the RC are a little iffy, where they're a little better on the RC Pro.
Because you got more processing power.
Yeah.
So I'm curious too, Kai, just in terms of the RC Pro versus the regular remote with a phone. For someone who's just starting off with a camera drone, are they well served to get a remote with a screen built in, or do you feel like flying with your phone is okay when you start?
Flying with the phone is okay when you start, and even later it can be okay, or you can upgrade to a tablet if you want a larger screen.
Yeah. There's just
I personally have the Air 2S with the RC Pro, and I think that is a solid combo. I just flown it 2 weeks ago over to USS Lexington down in Corpus Christi, and it was it's so easy to set up. Turn it on, screw on your sticks, turn on the quad, the drone, and off you go.
And I imagine Corpus Christi, I've been there a few times. It's windy. It's almost always windy. No problems with the wind?
No, not till late at night when the wind really picked up. And
okay.
That had a little pucker effect. I'm not.
Oh, you were still in the air at that point?
I actually flew twice. I flew once in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then I came back at night after sundown, and I put all the strobes that need to be there on that thing. And I was convinced that Saturday morning the newspaper in Corpus would have the headline UFO sighting over Corpus Christi Bay.
Right, with all those lights and everything.
Yeah.
There's the footage. That's awesome. That thing, and I will say, did you fly during the day as well? Obviously,
I flew once during the day and then once at night.
Because it's bright out there. How did the RC Pro do in the daylight?
Not a problem.
You could see it just fine.
You can see. And
that's the thing too. If you're going to use a phone, if you have a newer phone and you can crank up the brightness, it does pretty well, but it drains your battery pretty quickly. And
and the other thing is this auto dimming issue with some of these phones.
Yeah, they'll auto dim. That's a cool shot. So I guess, to summarize, if you are looking to get a gift for somebody this holiday of a drone and you want to go under $50, you can look at some of these line of sight toy drones. And again, SYMA, SYMA, they're a good brand. Holy Stone's a pretty good brand. Potenzic, it's a pretty good brand. Hubson's a pretty good brand. The Hubson, it was the X4 or the H4. That was a really popular one when people were first starting to fly drones. And of course, Emax is a good brand, but they're more, tiny whoops and FPVs.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go a little more, the Tello, look at the Rise Tello. It's RYZE. It's $99. And as Kai said, you can not only fly that, but that has capability if your kid's really into programming and stuff to do some programming with it. I think, you can set waypoints and do all kinds of fancy stuff with it. And then if you're going to go above that, the DJI Mini SE is a good choice. And then, if you get above that, then you're kind of more into not beginner territory, And again,
we're talking a 10-year-old child.
Yes. 10 to, I'd say between probably 8 and 12. Like there's a range in there where any of those, I think an 8-year-old could handle most of those drones. The big thing though, I personally really like those line of sight beginner drones, the toy ones, because they really make you learn how to fly it. Because with a GPS drone, you're not really flying. You're pushing it around in the air, and they're skilled at that too. I mean, there is definitely learning what to do, but So Lee says he'll be in Galveston 11/12 nighttime kite flying. So I guess that's in just 8 days, in a week, down there flying around kites. Well, yeah.
It can't be this weekend because this weekend is Lone Star Rally.
Oh, yeah.
Motorcycle.
Yeah, motorcycles and kites. Two things that don't mix, right?
The motorcycles and kites makes it. It's more the guys on the motorcycles and the guys hold the kites.
Oh, and speaking of motorcycles, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to pitch this real quick. I've started a podcast with a buddy from high school. It is called Dirt Nap City. If you listen to podcasts, our latest episode is about Evel Knievel. So if you like motorcycles and you want to know more about Evel Knievel, go to Dirt Nap City. Look, Chris has got it up already. You the man, Chris. Who was Evel Knievel? We basically, what Dirt Nap City is all about is people who are interesting but also dead. So interesting people who happen to be dead. We did one on Andre the Giant. We did one on Colonel Sanders. We did one on Harry Houdini. And episode 4 was Evel Knievel. So if you've heard of these people but you want to learn more, check out Dirt Nap City. I would love it if you download an episode. It's free. And
so how many times did I get mentioned on the Andre the Giant?
Well, you're not dead or interesting, so none. You got to be dead and interesting, Kai. So you got a little work to do.
Well, no, I just thought to get some sort of relation because Andre the Giant are about the same size. So.
Yeah. Well, apparently Andre the Giant could drink like 25 beers and not even flinch.
Well, yeah. Good training.
Yeah, good training. Andre the Giant was also French. He was a foreigner, moved to the U.S. You got that going for you. There's a lot of parallels. He was French.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dirt Nap City on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out. That said, we have coming up our favorite time of the show. It's time to check in with our buddy Chris Hope. We've been talking about FPV, and Chris Hope is an FPV ripper. You might not know it by looking at him, but this guy can fly some FPV, and he sent us some footage of a recent flight. He's been out of the game for a little while. I think he said he just got back into it, right? He hadn't flown in some time, but let's check out 2 minutes of hope. Yo, Chris Hope, always bringing it. You know, one of my goals before I moved to Dirt Nap City, plug for this podcast, is to go fly at his ranch and chase those cattle around. Kai and I might just show up one day with Chris in tow. Chris and Chris, evil Chris and good Chris. You decide who's who. So you did mention something about new motors for the Avata. What's up with that?
Axis Flying came out with a replacement motor for the Avata, and it's not without issues.
Yeah? What are the issues?
Apparently now we're having performance error messages popping up.
Oh, yeah.
So quit making a thing in the summer. It's not.
Yeah. Everybody wants it to be a freestyler, but it is a lot of fun. And speaking of a lot of fun, it's been a lot of fun here tonight. Fly Zone is not on, but they are on next Friday, so be sure to tune in next Friday. I think it's at 8 o'clock Central. Also, I think tonight or tomorrow night is daylight savings back to normal, right? And I think this will be the last time we ever do that, is my understanding.
I don't know where everybody gets the understanding from, but...
No, I think that's the only thing our government agrees on right now.
It went through the Senate and never went into the House.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I hope it's the last time we do it, because I know they're going to do it again in the spring, but then I heard we would just stick with daylight savings time.
If you Google daylight savings time for 23, it still has an end in November.
Oh, well. All right, well, don't forget to fall back. This is the good one where we get the extra hour of sleep, so that's a good thing, right? Extra hour to go fly. And guys, really appreciate... I see 2 new members in here. Who is my other new member? I saw Flying Flynn. Did I miss one?
I think Lee Yellow is re-member or something.
All right, well, That said, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. And of course, before we go, we need to give a big shout out to the subscriber of the month. Now, last month was Ron Brown, and Ron did get a very cool prize. I sent him a Insta360 Sphere, and he has been playing with that, I know. I've seen a couple of videos from him. And this month, we've got somebody who is near and dear to us, someone that we see pretty regularly at the meetups down here in Texas, somebody that flies a little bit of FPV, a lot of camera drone, and is going to be flying down in Galveston in about 8 days. It is
Lee
Bessing. He's going to be the subscriber of the month. So Lee, we really appreciate you always showing up to the meetups. We appreciate you being in the chats and supporting the community, and it's an honor to know you. So thanks for being awesome. Congratulations to Lee. I don't know if it's Bessing or Beasting. I think it's Bessing. Beasting. All right. Beasting. Lee Beasting. Ow. Just kidding. Congrats, Lee, for being subscriber of the month. If you wanted some stickers, I'm going to be sending them to you. Lone Star UAV, as well as some Ready Set Drone swag. And keep on, man.
Keep it.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
You like to
yeah. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Soon you'll start at 5 p.m. I did see a really funny poster the other day, and it was Darth Vader. And you remember the very first Star Wars movie where he's holding the guy up by his neck?
I'm not that old.
Come on, it was 77. You're my age. He's holding the guy up by his neck. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it said at the bottom of the poster, he's holding him there, and it says, strong men don't put others down, they lift them up. And then it says, Darth Vader, philanthropist. So on that note, be strong, lift him up. Go vote. Don't cause any trouble at the polling stations, please. Don't cause any trouble at the Capitol. Don't cause any trouble.
Right now, what's the uplifting?
Yeah. Don't put me down. Lift me up. But go vote your conscience. Let's try to keep it together, America. We need this one. We need this one to go well. At least I hope it does. Love you guys. Thanks for being here tonight. Check you later. And what shouldn't you do?
Don't fly alone.
Fly with Ready Set Drone, 'cause Ready Set Drone will always fly with me. Flying fast and flying free, flying with Prince of the Light for me. Ready Set Drone is my community. Goggles and rotors and FPV, props and motors and ESCs, gimbals and cameras are what we used to fly. Sharing stories and swapping tales, amazing triumphs and epic fails. How will you know if you don't even try? Ready, set, drone, ready, set, drone. Get up your props and plug in your phones. Fly with us, we'll think that you'll agree. Ready, set, drone, ready, set, drone. What's the point of flying alone? Flying with friends will make you feel so free. so